Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A field of 8 tonight trying to woo a capacity crowd of 700 for the GOP nomination for governor, and without the candidate who is consistently polled at the top of the field. Former Detroit Police Chief James Craig bowed out of the Livingston County GOP debate earlier this week, citing another commitment.
And that gave those without much name ID a chance to make their cases. Mara McDonald is live in Howell tonight. Mara, the format didn't really lend itself, though, to back and forth among the candidates.
Devin, that's right. You know, you had 8 people on this stage, and the format they used was essentially each candidate was given the opportunity to answer a question that was posed to all, and then at the end they were given a single question for that individual candidate. I will say this. This was a capacity crowd. They had 700 people in here. They had 300 people on a waiting list. There was certainly enthusiasm. The debate kicked off with a question about Roe. What law would these candidates support on abortion? The replies ranged from,
I would sign any law that outlaws abortion because I am convinced that it's murder.
I believe in pro-life with exceptions, rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
All are anti-abortion. The rest of the questions were a mix, like asking whether these candidates believe in COVID vaccines.
The vaccine represented political science versus medical science.
None believe in vaccine mandates, and a few say the vaccine did serve a benefit for a select few.
I also believe that the data shows that there were certain people that their lives were saved because they had the COVID-19 vaccine.
Another question, should the state stop funding universities? Of course, taking community college out of that mix. The answers were split.
There's no way I could ever say we want to get rid of funding the universities.
My answer to that is yes. And the reason why is that we need to fund our students, not the university.
8 candidates on stage without the one who has consistently polled ahead of the rest. Former Detroit Police Chief James Craig, who had another event and canceled his appearance at this event earlier in the week, although he had originally said he would attend. Back here live, James Craig has been invited to debate at the Mackinac Policy Conference by the Detroit Regional Chamber. He has made the polling threshold, along with Garrett Soldano, Ryan Kelly, Kevin Rinke, and Perry Johnson. Kimberly, Devin, we're live in Howell tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Local 4.
Yeah, we expect that's going to be one of the highlights this year up on Mackinac. Of course, the 2020 election and what happened in the presidential race then has been such a topic of conversation on the Republican side. What about that tonight, Mara?
Well, Devin, it's interesting that when that came up, Tudor Dixon was a solid yes. She believes Trump won. Ryan Kelly was a solid yes. He believes Trump won. And I believe, let me check my notes, Ralph Rebent was a solid yes that Trump won. The rest were either no or sort of, declining to answer.
Yeah.
Back to you.
All right, Mara. New information tonight in a story we first told you about Monday night.
Police making arrests in a shooting that injured 4 people, including teenagers. Jason Colthorpe is live on Detroit's east side with those new developments. Jason.
Good evening, Kim. And it was mostly teenagers and kids involved in that original scuffle that led to gunshots. And now, 3 days later, DPD has been able to arrest some of those who may have pulled the trigger and also taken some guns off the street. Following 4 people getting shot Monday, Detroit police back in this East Side neighborhood Thursday to execute a search warrant and make arrests. It was about 20 people in the 2 groups that had words, which led to shots fired here on McCoy Circle. It drew a huge response from Detroit police, including the chief.
It's unfortunate. It's really it's horrible. I mean, whatever conflict they were having, not only did they put each other's lives in jeopardy, but they put all the residents here in this villa in jeopardy.
As for those taken into custody today, 2 are juveniles and 1 is an adult. They also seized these 4 guns after recovering 2 guns after the shooting. Injured in the shooting were 2 teens, 15 and 16, and 2 adults, 18 and 29. All are expected to recover. Now we'll have to wait until these latest 3 suspects who've been arrested get arraigned to learn more information, their names, what police believe their role in all of this was. And I'm also told by police tonight they are not done. They are still looking for suspects involved in that shooting. We're at the 5th Precinct tonight. Jason Coulthard, Local 4.
Hey, Jason, thank you. An East Point family could be weeks away from more answers in the disappearance of teenager Zion Foster. A massive search is set to start by the end of the month to find her remains. Police agencies across Metro Detroit are launching Operation Justice for Zion. She was last seen in January when her cousin, Jalen Brazier, told police she stopped breathing while they were smoking marijuana and he threw her body into a dumpster. Brazier is serving prison time for lying to police. An emotional Sierra Milton spoke today about her daughter.
She just turned 17 in November. I was supposed to be doing graduation pictures and prom and helping her to get her first ID and helping her to get her license, and it's just so much to miss out on.
Investigators will now focus on a landfill in Lenox Township where they believe Foster could be buried. They say the search could take about 7 or 8 weeks with about 40 workers on the ground each day.
Tonight we're learning the name of the high school sophomore who drowned after jumping off a bridge in Ann Arbor. Police say Alex Walker played football and ran track at Pioneer High, died yesterday after jumping into the Huron River from this bridge. He was with friends when it happened and was pulled from the water by a man in a canoe. He was rushed to the hospital, but later died. The Ann Arbor Fire Department now issuing a warning, trying to discourage others from jumping off that bridge, saying it's not only illegal, but obviously very dangerous.
Detroit police tonight recovered dozens of stolen ATVs and dirt bikes. The department's commercial auto theft unit made the bust on the city's west side on Roosevelt Street near West Grand Boulevard. Altogether, police say they seized 36 ATVs and 9 dirt bikes.
President Biden tonight vowing to step in to address the growing nationwide shortage of baby formula. President today meeting with executives from baby food manufacturers as well as leaders from Walmart and Target about how they can help restock the shelves. The White House also urging state and federal regulators to crack down on price gouging.
What we're doing here at this point in time is working with other manufacturers who can produce safe baby formula, and we've had success in increasing their productivity over the last 4 weeks, and we're going to continue to work on that.
Voluntary recall by the manufacturer Abbott Nutrition first prompted the shutdown of their plant here in Sturgis, Michigan. While Abbott says it has implemented corrections to address the FDA's concerns, the FDA tells NBC News they're still concerned that Abbott has not addressed risks of contamination during their production process.
The Orchard Lake Police Department now addressing the cancellation of this year's Polish Country Fair.
The Orchard Lake St. Mary's Board of Trustees voted to suspend this year's event. It's always held Memorial Day weekend. Board cited safety and security concerns. The police department released a statement saying while the department is not aware of any specific threats that have been made, it acknowledges that, quote, any large open-air event is a potential target in today's climate. So far, the St. Mary's Board has not commented on the cancellation.